And we're live. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, callers. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Rope in people, rope in people, rope in people, rope in, you know the trips. We have a special guest here, we have a special guest here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rope in people, rope in people, rope in people, rope in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. On the ones on the fields now. Come show, Pips, come show. You don't know the thing, go. Yeah, man. Banna. Let's go. Rope in, people, rope in. We have a special guest today. Yo. Yo. You already know. Let's go. Yo. Rope in, my people, rope in. All right. Big up First Millennial Entertainment. Big up First Millennial Entertainment in the building. All right. Yeah, man, people, go and rope in. Where will I buy? We have a good show for you today, now. You know the thing, go. Yeah, man. Special guest in the place. Call us. All right. Roping peeps, you don't know the thing go. Cadu Williams Entertainment. Live with live. 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 Say live with live. Alright. Clap it up. Oh. Yes. What a wonderful Sunday, guys. You know, wagwan. How is everything? How is the Sunday? You know what I mean? I'm here recovering, you know. I don't know, Carlos, I don't know if Alice crab or what still, but you know what I mean? I'm hearing enough people that say I the crab when I eat from Alice and all that, but I don't know that, you know, because, you know, I cook my own crab still, you know what I mean? But you people, when they recover, we have Carlos in the building. Carlos, say something.
Yeah, man. Bless up my people, man. Give thanks, you know. It's such a pleasure to be here with Tristan on this live, you know. It's been a long time coming.
Likewise.
You know, we are in different locations, but I mean, whenever the time is right, we try to make it right.
Yes.
And we're at the right location now, so we're just going to try to do it right.
And if we don't make it right, you understand what I say? Yeah, you don't know, man. Yeah, man. So, Carlos is actually here. Today he's gonna be doing the podcast with me. So, you know, we're gonna go through the topic together. Feels good to have some help for once. As far as, you know, governing the microphone and thing, you know. Obviously, I do have a lot of help, guys. I have people that help me with, you know, the sound. People that help me with the graphics, all that type of stuff. People that help me with topics as well. Everything like that, you know. But good to have like somebody else that can, you know what I mean, chip in and chip out. That is not away, basically, you know, through Zoom or whatever means it may be that we communicate, which that is fine as well. But, you know, it's always good to have someone in person because, you know, the vibes and the energy is always different when people are here in person. So, you know what I mean, Carlos, finally the people them get to see your face. You know what I mean? Yeah, but they've been hearing you all this time. You know what I mean? You have been speaking on almost all of the lives prior to this. And, you know, definitely had some strong opinions and some interesting things to say about the previous topics. You know what I mean? From the ones that we're talking about, can men cook better than women, right? From topics that we were dealing with regard to massacre and alkaline, whether massacre and alkaline are going to encounter in a lyrical battle or not, you know what I mean? And the Bob Marley topic, right?
Yeah.
The Bob Marley biopic. What else?
I mean, bro, you have done so many topics here. There has been a lot of topics that we have covered so far, so
yeah.
I mean, I know they always hear the voice, but sometimes you have to just be the element of surprise, you know. So I guess today, just today, we're here in person.
Yeah.
So that you can actually know that. And by the way, man, Tristan coming from very far, you know.
Them know, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's a long history.
Yeah, man.
You know. This is something that we always wanted to do, you know. Wait, people, wait. Sound check, hold on, that's a mistake. Yeah, this is something that we always wanted to do, you know what I mean? We always want to get together and talk about some, you know, interesting topics or important topics that people can relate to. As well as we also have plans, bigger plans, that is more than just topics like for entertainment, but actually things that can educate people on a financial aspect as well.
Yes, of course, because, indeed, because, I mean, like, Tristan and I, like, I mean, we are diverse in the sense we're like we can discuss a myriad of topics because I mean, especially in this time where a lot of people they are lacking in financial education. Like of course we aren't a financial coach, but we know enough to the point where like we can have civilized discussions as well as like any form of social topics like they're out there. Tristan and I we always like discuss after the year. Anything that's whether it be jovial or something that is serious, we always talk. So that's why when Tristan decided that you're gonna proceed with this whole idea of doing the podcast, I was like, yeah, of course, go for it because I mean, Tristan he's the master at this, the master at this, the setting up the podcast and getting together the equipment. I know nothing about these things, my people, so I'm actually learning from Tristan, you know. Yeah, I can just start.
I am learning myself,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm just using my knowledge
Yeah.
from the audio engineer world, you know what I mean, from the music side of things is what the knowledge that I'm basically using, and you know, just a little bit of computer literacy. That's about it, my people.
Yeah, and it's working so far, you know. It's I think it's growing week after week. We see where like people are generally interested and looking forward to hear what Tristan had to say, and there as you can see in the comments, people are like giving their 2 cents, and they're like wanted to hear what's the next topic is gonna be like. And even last week, like some friends of mine were asking what's going on for the live. I was like, yeah, Tristan wasn't feeling so well, but I mean he still gave you guys like I think it wasn't last week, but the prior week he gave you like we get a good live where like there was some retro music and you were talking about Sting, right? And that was a very interesting one too, you know.
Yeah, but it's funny. But I got cut off because basically I violated YouTube's policies by streaming somebody else's content. So I streamed copywritten content, and you know, fortunately, I was able to get through about 2 hours of the live doing this, and YouTube did not. Thankfully, I did not get a copyright strike, and YouTube did not take down my video. So you guys can go ahead in my channel section where the live section is, and the last video it should say, can't remember the name, but Sting Clash Reactions.
The video is still there?
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. So yeah, you could go ahead and watch it. Yeah, people are watching it.
Yeah, I thought the video was removed because
no, they haven't. No, they didn't remove it.
Oh, because I was actually, because you know I wasn't able to join the live that week, and I was actually driving and listening to it, and it ended premature. I was like, what? What is going on? So, but I mean, it was fun nonetheless, though.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it was fun. You know, that would have been one of the episodes where if you were here, that would have been a good episode to do if you were here. You know what I mean? To get your reaction as well.
Yeah, of course, because you know we love music, love talk about it, love talk about the clashes and them long time things, because like you just feel good talking about those things. After all, it's our culture, so why not have discussions about those things? Because at the end of the day, we just add into the topic itself and like give our 2 cents. And I mean, whatever you listeners have to say, you can always just comment, and we Tristan and I we're willing to like to follow up on that.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So without further ado, guys, that was the introduction to Carlos. You guys get to meet him to see what he looks like and everything like that. You know what I mean? He's definitely a regular on the podcast. He's definitely a part of the team, and you know, ever since it started, you know, since inception. So, you know, get used to the face. You know, you might see him in a lot more videos. You know what I mean? Anyways, so today's topic, guys. Let's get down into the nitty gritty of what we're here for on this beautiful Sunday. Now, today's topic is it's interesting, but it's a little bit different. I know we have had other topics before that. I mean, we have a lot of topics that there, you know, you can get a lot of laughs out of and jokes and stuff like that. It's a lot more fun. But then we also have other topics where it's not so much of a laughing matter. You know what I mean? But it's an interesting discussion that needs to be had. For example, the R. Kelly topic. was one of them. Not so much of a laughing matter, you know. I mean, it was that's a serious topic, but I mean, at the same time, there was a lot of interesting. There was a lot of entertainment factor towards it at the same time, even though you know it wasn't so much of a comedic thing. So you know, everything is not comedy, but you know, knowing us Jamaican people, we always make find some way to get laughter and things, you know, even in a bad situation, and that's not to be sensitive to anyone that's you know, basically a victim or anything like that. So we'll just get that out the way. But yeah, you know, it's at the end of the day, this is just entertainment. But you know, everything that we're doing, I can assure you that we'll be doing it in good taste. You know what I mean? All right, people. So, all right. So, boom. What's today's topic? Should Jamaica reinstate the death penalty? Yeah, the death penalty, right? So, for those who don't know, the people that don't, that are not from Jamaica or the Caribbean or that are not familiar with our culture, Jamaica is basically, one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean with, one of the best cultures in the world. Jamaican people generally were very welcoming, right? Yeah. We're very playful, we're fun, we're very open-minded. We're some of us are introverts, but even the introverts have some level of extrovert characteristics to them. We're very hospitable and everything like that. You know what I mean? We're hardworking, and there's just so much good things to describe Jamaican people in general, right? But one of our main problems in Jamaica is the crime problem. We have one of the highest crime rate, not only in the Caribbean but in the world. I mean, the amount of people that die in Jamaica via murder is in a year is more than what the amount of people that are killed in some wars for the year. You know what I mean? So it's a problem, guys. And look, we have a deep history of this. This just didn't start overnight. It just didn't start yesterday. It didn't start last year, the year before. There's a myriad of things that is contributing to this crime situation that we have in Jamaica, and it's spanning back all the way to the early 1900s. Let's put it at that. But it never really started to get like bad and deplorable until I want to say probably in the 70s, right? Is when it got really, really bad. And Carlos, you probably know a little bit. Tell me about what chain of events happened in the 70s that somewhat added to this spike in the crime rate, in the murder rate particularly.
All right. Well, and this is what I've heard, guys. It's not. I mean, there might be some fact to it, but based on a little that I've heard, I realized that Jamaica's crime problems has stem largely from politics, and it was and they said during the 70s when there was the advent of garrison politics, where they said that politicians were supplying the members of the community or constituency with guns, so that they could help them to secure votes within the more volatile areas of Jamaica. So, and I think they said eventually when these guns get in the hands of these so-called gang leaders, or what you want to call them, after a while they have more power with these guns. So instead of them using these guns just to help to secure the votes for politicians, now they're actually now using these weaponry as a means of extortion and as a means of attacking regular civilians out there, just to see and show that they want to show their strong hold of the community. So over a period of time, you tend to find that there was this this thing in communities where there's a lot of guns and the guns, and these gunmen eventually started to rob, and they were doing all sort of like criminal activities to the point where it got out of control, and it could no longer be stemmed so easily by these politicians. And over a period of time now, you see that we have a crime problem started to escalate it from the 70s. If you have discussion with others, they might tell you that there are other factors that contributed to crime and violence in Jamaica. Some will say to you that it's stemming from unemployment, which of course unemployment is also a factor. But in my eyes and my observation, I think that Jamaica's current problem has stemmed largely from political affiliations.
As far as the beginning of what triggered it.
Yeah, that's really where it all started from. But I mean, that's before there are other factors that contributed to it. So, and that's what I heard, and I've read about it as well. So this is nothing that even though what I'm saying, I'm not feeling that I'm saying something that can like, or someone gonna say, all right, we're gonna nail you in the corner because you're saying what you don't know. This is public information. We all know that Jamaica and worldwide, we all know that politics and crime have some association, and Jamaica is also included in that spectrum when we talk about the lineage of crime to politics, and that's why we're currently in that spot. No, we are seeing a different type of crime and violence in Jamaica. It is not so much having to do with politics, because currently we have this thing in Jamaica where there's an increase of fraud. You know, yeah. I'm not gonna use the popular, the popular. There's an increase of fraud because whatever, there's an increase of fraud, and through these fraud schemes, you realize that it led to the increase of weaponry by these fraudsters, and these fraudsters they are also attacking civilians, whether it be they're robbing, they're killing, and all sort of criminal activities. And you see where we are right now with this crime, but it's out of control. And our murder rate is like one of the highest in the world based on our population.
Per capita, like per every capita. 1,000 per capita.
Yeah.
Every 1,000 people. It's basically the rate or the ratio that they used to calculate.
Yeah. But when you look at a country like Jamaica or Tristan, it's kind of staggering to look at our murder rate, you know, because we are so small, and based on our population density, they're saying that how can you look at if you have like one time they say like, I don't want to give a wrong information. They were looking at the number of people that were get killed by the gun per 1,000 people, and that was staggering based on our size. So that's why most of the time they say that Jamaica have one of the highest murder rate. But really, they're not. It's not like Jamaica do not really have the highest murder rate in the world. Because I think a lot of the time people get this notion wrong. It's just pretty much based on our size.
Yeah.
Based on our size, that's why it is something of concern, and that's why you see a lot of people are saying, well, should we resort back to the death penalty?
Right.
Yeah, and as a means of stemming this staggering crime problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because and I'll go down into it while we, you know, because I actually have some research here. I'm gonna go over it with you guys. We're gonna go down more in depth into that part of it, as far as you know both sides of the story, or both ideologies, whether agreeing with this and disagreeing with this. And then we'll also have a conversation, me and Carlos as well, about it as well, as far as some topic questions. And then also I'll also open the phone lines at some point in this live, so whoever is listening out there in YouTube land can call in and give their opinion on whether they think that this is something that needs to be done. All right, so guys, let's without further ado, let's get into the topic. All right, so wait, let's see here. Okay, let's fix this up a little bit. One sec, guys. Just make sure we fix that. Okay. All right, I think this is fine right here. All right, so as you can see, guys, the topic is, should Jamaica reinstate the death penalty, right? But before we do anything, we got to talk about our sponsors because they pay the bills, all right? So our first sponsor is Katrina Correa, real estate professional with Remax Direct. Katrina Correa for real estate purchases and rentals in South Florida. Call her at 561-420-4722, or you can email her at katrina@thejphomegroup.com, or you can visit her website at katrinacorrea.remax.com. Guys, there's a Hometown Heroes Florida housing program going on that started on July 1st, 2023, which states that all working Florida residents are now eligible to receive up to $35,000 down payment and closing cost assistance to buy a home. It says reserve your funds before the program ends. Now, I'm not sure when this program will end or if it has ended, but guys, if you're looking to buy a house, definitely contact Katrina Correa. Her number is there. I just read it off, 561-420-4722. If you're looking to rent as well, you can contact her as well if you're looking to buy raw land or buy any type of property for whether it's business or personal, commercial or residential. Definitely contact her. She's very seasoned. She understands the real estate market and what's going on around it and the environment, and she will lead you in the right way. All right, that's Katrina Correa, real estate professional. All right, our next sponsor is Millennials Trucking LLC for local and long distance shipping throughout the state of Georgia. Contact them at millennialstruckingllc.com. Guys, if you're looking to haul anything at all, if you're looking to haul for business or personal, any load that you're trying to move from point A to point B, definitely contact them. They're very professional. They will get back to you in immediately, as soon as possible, in good timing, and they will make sure to do everything that they need to do to make you happy as the customer and make sure you are pleased. So definitely contact them at millennialstruckingllc.com. All right, guys. Our next sponsor is White Eagle Electric Inc., South Florida Services, commercial, residential, and industrial lighting, home automation, high voltage, low voltage, data, fire alarm, video distribution, surveillance system, POE, phone systems, and more. Contact Norman, Project Manager Norman at 561-693-7227, or contact Lee at 561-541-1185. Again, guys, this is White Eagle Electric Inc., right? These guys are very experienced electricians. If you're looking for someone to hang a chandelier, contact them. If you're looking for someone to hang a ceiling fan, contact them. If you're looking for someone to run walls through your wires through your walls, contact White Eagle Electric Inc. All right, guys, 561-541-1185. Our next sponsor is the Lloydersville Citizens Association. In August, I think it was August, right? Yeah, August 19th, they had a really good family event. It's basically it was a talent show where they had food and games and all kind of stuff. They had good performances by Rooksy, Terry Butler, Darren, Higher Realms, Access, and many more. Also, Lyrical Nardo also performed at that show. Did very well, guys. Definitely look out for the next event. Whenever it is finalized, I'll definitely be promoting it. It's for a good cause, guys. So definitely, if you want to contribute to this movement, this association, they're on Facebook. You can search Lloydersville Citizens Association on Facebook and add them, and they should have the information there with how you can contribute as well. All right, guys, that's the Lloydersville Citizens Association. Our next sponsor is Island Buzz Restaurant for great tasting Jamaican food in Delray. Visit their address is 1701 West Atlantic Ave. That's Delray Beach, Florida. Email address is islandbuzz@gmail.com. Website is Island Buzz Caribbean Cuisine. Instagram is island_buzz_jg. Facebook, Island Buzz. Guys, they have lunch special for as low as $9 with your choice of brown stew chicken, jerk chicken, curry chicken with a side of rice and peas and a canned soda. You can't beat that, guys. You can't beat it. They got appetizers like different flavors of wings. They got barbecue wings with fries, fried wings with fries, jerk wings with fries, spicy wings with fries. Guys, they got chicken Caesar wrap. That reminds me, I got a chicken Caesar wrap I gotta go to right now. Jerk chicken wrap. They also have chicken tenders with fries for the kiddies because you know they're picky eaters. Guys, visit Island Buzz restaurant. It's a very, very delicious food truck on 1701 West Atlantic Ave. Guys, it's right by the train tracks after you get off the exit on the 95. Guys, check them out. All right, guys, so let's get into the meat of the matter. All right, let's get into the details of the topic. So, should Jamaica reinstate the death penalty? Right, the history of death penalty in Jamaica is a complex and contentious one, characterized by periods of use, abolition, and ongoing debates about its effectiveness and fairness. In this article, we will explore the historical context, current perspectives, and the question of whether the reinstatement of the death penalty could act as a deterrent for violent offenses. We will also consider the competence and fairness of the Jamaican justice system in implementing the death penalty. So, as you see, they brought up the competence of the Jamaican justice system when they talk about it.
Yeah.
That's also important to note if you're going to bring back the death penalty, because you want to make sure that that's working right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be taking the lives of people that are wrongly convicted, right?
Yeah, because I mean it has to have some balance to it as well, you know.
Right.
It has some balance to it. So, I mean, of course they're gonna question the competence of it, because if there's no balance, then I mean, of course the competence is gonna be challenged as well.
Right. And it's, you know, it wouldn't be in for long, because then, you know, you would have already made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
All right. So, historical perspective. Jamaica's use of the death penalty dates back to its colonial era, right? Under British rule, when capital punishment was regularly employed for various crimes, including murder and treason. However, Jamaica gained independence in 1962 and eventually abolished the death penalty for murder in 1976. 1976, okay. That's so.
It's a long time, bro.
So 1970. So Jamaica has had the death penalty since colonial era and until 1976.
That was the last time?
No. That 1976 is when they first abolished the death penalty in Jamaica. So up until when slavery, colonialism, we had the death penalty all the way along till 1976. Then they cut out the death penalty. Right. So the decision was rooted. Right. The decision was rooted in concerns about the arbitrary application of the penalty and a growing global trend against capital punishment, which, I mean, that's obvious. You know, the global trend is more humanitarian. They're trying to find other ways to deal with things and, you know, try to say, okay, maybe there's some other way we can punish these people or you know, basically take them away from society without having to you know, actually kill them, you know.
Yeah, I still think that's kind of relative though. Yeah, it's relative in the sense that
we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
All right. So more about the historical perspective. In 1980, the death penalty was briefly reinstated. That's 4 years after. That's 4 years after they stopped it, right? In 1980, the death penalty was briefly reinstated, but was once again suspended in 1991, right? Once again, so it went from 1980 to 1991, then they suspended it. Jamaica's move towards abolition was seen as a significant step in the recognition, in recognizing the need for a more humane and just legal system. The debate on deterrence, right? Okay, that's the you know, the good part, right? The question of whether the death penalty serves as a deterrent for violent offenses remains a topic of debate worldwide. Proponents argue that the fear of execution can discourage potential criminals from committing heinous acts. However, opponents assert that there is no conclusive evidence to support the notion that the death penalty is an effective deterrent.
Interesting.
In Jamaican context, proponents of reinstating the death penalty often point to rising crime rates, including high murder rates, as a reason for considering its return. Right? No brainer, right? That's exactly why people, like whenever some gruesome murders happen and stuff like that, or the murder rate spike, you always hear when people are on the news, they always say, "Oh, they bring back the death penalty." Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you heard that over, growing up? Right? They argue that the ultimate punishment might serve as a deterrent to would-be offenders. However, critics argue that the root causes of crime, such as social and economic disparities, should be addressed comprehensively rather than relying on the death penalty as a quick solution. Moreover, the potential for wrongful convictions and the risk of executing innocent individuals are concerns that cannot be ignored. So they're saying that, okay, well, there's a death penalty is a quick fix to whatever, but the real root of the problem isn't solved, which is, the economic disparities, and then also they're saying that you can't reverse, executing somebody that's, after you find out they're innocent, you can't reverse that. You already executed them, So those are basically the arguments against the death penalty, yeah. Right? Okay, so the competence and fairness of the justice system. All right, so a crucial factor in determining the feasibility of reinstating the death penalty in Jamaica is the competence and fairness of the justice system. An effective death penalty system must guarantee a fair trial, provide robust legal representation, and ensure that evidence is thoroughly examined. In recent years, concerns have been raised about the Jamaican justice system, including issues related to a lengthy pre-trial detention, access to legal representation, and overcrowded prisons. These concerns have raised doubts about whether the system can guarantee a fair and just application of the death penalty. So, quite a few problems there that maybe affecting the Jamaican justice system and the prison system that would be served as a pre-qualifier before you can even say, oh, we're gonna reinstate the death penalty, is what they're saying, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. And this is a picture of the government of Jamaica, an overview. You remember this in law class when we used to be in university, Carlos?
Somewhat, somewhat,
right.
Because law wasn't our favorite, subject, but I mean, of course, it kind of seems like there's some similarity, but
you remember the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary.
Oh yeah, actually,
those are the three branches of the government.
Oh yeah, for real.
Yes, I remember that in law class.
Yeah.
All right. So the death penalty is in contemporary Jamaica, right? Public opinion on the issue remains divided, with many advocating for its return as a means of addressing the country's crime problems, while others call for a focus on systematic reforms and social justice initiatives. Conclusion. The history of the death penalty in Jamaica reflects the nation's evolving stance on capital punishment. The debate on whether it should be reinstated as a deterrent for violent offenses remains polarized, with arguments centered on the competence and fairness of the Jamaican justice system. Ultimately, the decision to reinstate the death penalty in Jamaica should be made with careful consideration of its potential implications on crime rates, human rights, and justice in the nation. All right, so what are our topic questions, right? Here are the topic questions, guys. What percentage of people serving life sentences do you think are innocent? Is the Jamaican justice system fair enough to where we could reinstate the death penalty? Is capital punishment morally right? Should Jamaica reinstate the death penalty? Should there be capital punishment for all convicted murders? Those are the topic questions, guys. But before we get into the questions with Carlos, there is one thing that I wanted to certainly bring up, and this is an article that I will bring up. Let's see. Here, let me one sec, guys. One sec. Let me see how I can do this. Okay, I know what to do now. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna bring up an article, guys. Just bear with me for a second, all right? Okay. All right, perfect. All right, guys. So you're not gonna see us for a little while, but I wanted to bring this up. Hold on. Not that. I wanted to bring up this article because I think it's important that you guys see what's going on here. All right, cool. So guys, this is the murder rate. This is the murder rate, or the homicide rate for Jamaica. As you can see right here, from 1972 to well, actually 1970 to 2016. Right, guys. And if you look right here, as you can see, in 1970, Jamaica only had 152 murders. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Right? How much? What was the total murders that we had last year in 2022, Carlos?
Honestly, I don't remember, but I think that might be somewhere about within the 2000s, or I might be wrong. But normally, Jamaica's murder rate in a given year is always over 1,000.
Right, consistently. For at least the past 20 years.
20 years, yes.
Right?
So
it actually never started to hit the thousands until 2022, which is about 20 years, right?
Yeah.
As you can see, 2002, which is, I can see that year there was 1,054 murders that year.
1,045.
1,045 murders that year, right? And then, it had a drop in 2003, dropped to 975, and then 2004, man, 1,471, and then it never looked back after that, right? All the way up on, it was in the mid 1,000, 1,000, right? There was one, I had one drop at some to the low thousands in 2013, 2014, but in 2014 there about is when it really dropped. I don't remember what was the occurrence why it dropped that low in 2014, but anyways, I had some findings, guys, from this, and I'm gonna go over these findings because I think it's very important that we look at these findings and basically put an imagery to or put some these findings will put some context to the content that you're looking at right here, right? So all right, here are my findings, guys, right? Jamaica started to see its highest murder rates after 1976, right? So as you can see, from 1970 all the way to 1976, right? 1970 to 1975, actually 1970 to 1972, we never touched 200 murders, right?
No.
Then 1973 to 1974 is when 1973 is actually to 1975 is when we actually started to touch 200 murders, right? And all those years we didn't touch 200, right? It was 1976 when we actually got 367 murders, which is, like I can imagine in 1976 when they reported that there was 367 murders, how people were probably afraid and scared back then, right? They didn't even know what was to come, eh? People were like, oh my God, this I can't live here,
one thing, Tristan, I tend to have a problem with the way they talk about murder rates too, To me, murder rate is been talked about like as though as if they're talking about financial statistics, The way they look at it, like they say, it was up this year, went down last year, and it fluctuated and all that. Like honestly, like there should be no murders.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the reality is that we're having murders, but I always think like I just don't like the way it's been presented. It's presented too much like you're looking at financial data and it's being analyzed in a way like, I mean, like they should stop this in a certain area. But I just don't like the way it's been done, though.
Or maybe it's a tone of which they do it, because you still have to analyze, because at the end of the day, math, is important, and you have to use math to set, basically use it to help you set goals, because at the end of the day, we know that it's not gonna disappear overnight. So what the justice system and the the police, the law enforcers have to do is come together and say, oh, all right, look, we need to come together and say we need to have a target to say by the end of this year, with the new procedures that we're putting in, right, to prevent and deter these things, we're expecting to have a decline of X%. You have to set goals like that. That's how you have to address. You have to, just right. Like financial stuff, you have to address it that way as well.
I mean, I guess the reason why I look at it like that, though, because I mean, when you have like control variables, it's kind of different. Like I guess in scenario, what is our control variable in this case, especially when you look at like murders in Jamaica, like is it removing guns from the street? Can you control the number of guns that's out there? So of course, there have to be some because when you look at financial statistics, like a company is looking at your financials, they know that there is a variable, like if it whether it be high expense that needs to be curtailed, then you can control that. But when it comes to crime, though, it's sort of different. It's not everything you can really quantify.
Yeah, but you have to, though. You don't think you should quantify it, because how do you know there's a problem? Because yes, we shouldn't have any murders at all, but it gotta be like a number that you're like, okay, well, this number I can live with, because we all know that we can't stop crime from happening. It's gonna happen, but we can stop it from getting out of hand. You know what I mean? Like we can stop with somebody's gonna lick their chip and do something wrong, but overall, if we can have good measures put into place to deter it, or good measures put into place to basically solve cases and close cases, that will also help to prevent it from getting out of hand. And with that, we need numbers to quantify these things and analyze it so we can set goals. And the thing is, like, a police officer going out and working, right? He's just doing his job. But I feel like, say, every police officer going out, just like how he knows that the department must bring in 1,000 tickets in order for them to get a bonus, the police officer must know, say, also we need to have 20%, 40% decline in armed robbery and stuff like that, while he's going out doing his day-to-day job. Even though, so it should be something in the back of his head that, okay, this is our goal. If that's not the case, then these guys are just out there just willy-nilly just policing and thing. I feel like just like any business, where even down to the person that's the janitor is in the company meeting and knowing that, okay, we need to make X amount of goals. They should know, you understand what I'm saying? They should know that as well. They might not know all the fine details, but I feel like it's important that they know, because that's how you get people to move as a unit when everybody is on the same accord.
I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, like, I'm not saying like the fact that they are like showing the number of crimes that's been committed in Jamaica annually. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. I just think that the fact that they kept saying it increased this year, it reduced last year. I just think that the way they do it sort of normalize crime to me. It kind of seem like it's a normal thing, because I mean, you're looking at crime based on statistics, which nothing is wrong with that. But I just like,
right,
the way you want to see it reduced. It is sort of different from the way you analyze like a company. They analyze crime like they analyze in a company, which to me kind of normalize crime. Like last year was okay, this year it increased. Last year it was okay, this year it increased. That's, I mean, that I guess the fashion in which they do it, to me, like, I'm not too comfortable with that.
So is it the tone?
Not the tone. Not the tone. That's the way they analyze it to me. I always have a problem with that.
All right, let me get through this analysis right here. All All right, so let's get back to it. So I spoke about Jamaica started to see its highest murder rates after 1976, right? So basically, that number was that 367 murders for the year. You know, for the most part, before that, Jamaica was in the 200s and the 100s, that type of number. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying that, you know, it's good to have goals, because if Jamaica could get down to even the 367 murders for the year, I think that's a big accomplishment. You know what I mean? Yes, we shouldn't have any murders, but you know, I feel like I would feel a little bit safer in Jamaica if it went down to that, because then I know, you know, I'm a numbers guy. You know, the probability of, you know what I mean, somebody that I may know or myself getting into a situation like that, I know that it's being reduced based on whatever is being implemented. I mean, anything can happen, but then again, you can just walk on the street and a bus can lick you down too. So I don't necessarily, it's not necessarily crime that you can be affected by, is what I'm saying. But you know, overall, the crime problem is it's a real problem, and people aren't safe. People want, you know what I mean, Jamaica is not striving like how it should be striving because of the crime, because a lot of people don't want to invest in Jamaica because of that. You know what I mean? It's hard to take up yourself and say you're gonna take on those problems that Jamaica have just because you're trying to give back to your country and stuff like that, or trying to help out your country. No, you want to be safe and stuff like that. People want to invest in a place that they can have the freedom to invest and not to worry about that part of it. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of people, they don't. I mean, they just come to Jamaica for vacation, spend a little money, and then go back home. But they're not interested to invest because there's so much problems, and the crime is just one problem. We're not even talking about the bureaucracy with the government and things like and paperwork and all of that stuff just to even get your business off the ground. You know. All right. So the most significant increase was a 156% spike in murders in 1980, which is the year the death penalty got reinstated. Now, guys, here it is right here. That significant increase was to 899 murders in 1980. The previous year, there were only 351 murders. Now, that year, which is the year the death penalty got reinstated. So 1980, when it's like the government noticed that this is crazy. I believe that was an election year too. The government noticed that this is going crazy, so they, before the year could even finish, they reinstated the death penalty. Now look what happens next, guys. Look what happens next. 1980 was also an election year that is known for a bloody political war between civilians supporting their political parties, right? But look what happens next. After reinstating the death penalty in 1980, the murders declined by 49% in 1981. And the proof is here, guys. See it here? So it dropped from 899 murders to 490 murders. Now, could that be because of the death penalty being reinstated, or could it be that, okay, well, the election is over and then, you know, whoever win, the next year starts and the violence cool down? It's hard to say, you know what I mean? It's hard to say, but you know, there's some type of correlation going on here with the death penalty being reinstated and the murders going down and the death penalty being removed and the murders going up. All right, let me continue because there's more. All right. Between 1981 and 1990, let's go there. All right, let's go there. All right, here it is right here. So between 1981 and 1990, right? Let me cut off 1981. Between 1981 and 1990, the murders averaged in the mid 400s per year. So we had that big spike in the election year, and then between 1981 and 1990, it was like in the mid 400 for the most part. So, you know, you can call it, say, the thing kind of cooled down. You know what I mean? Which mid 400s after such a high is you know, I can imagine, things kind of cool, right? You would say, right? All right. So capital punishment was abolished again in 1991. Let's look at 1991. So 1991, when they had 561 murders, which 561 they haven't had that in a while, right? In like 10 decades, in 10 years, which is a decade, right? So that was a big spike. So in 1991, it's a capital punishment was abolished again in 1991. So like I was saying, that they probably think that things were cooling down and they just abolish it and say, oh, we don't need this right now with the humanitarian pressure and stuff like that from outside countries and all that, right? Thereafter, after 1991, right? Thereafter, there was a spike in murders of 12% in 1992. So when they took it out in 1991, right? They abolished it in 1991. It jumped from 561 murders to 629 murders in 1992. That was a 12% increase, right? Another correlation right there, right? The murder rate then increased every year from 1992, that was 629 murders, through 2002, that was 1,045 murders, before there was the first year's decline in 2003. So after 1992, when they abolished, after 1991, when they abolished the death penalty, the murder rate went up every single year thereafter. Which leads us to this, guys. As you can see, in the thousands, and this article stops at 2016, right? And this was taken from the Daily Mail, the historical reporting from the Daily Mail, right? So, which brings us to here, guys. We're at this point in 2023 where every single year since every single year since
1976?
No, since 2002, when it started to hit the thousands.
Oh yeah.
Only 1 year alone it never hit 1,000. But every other year since 2002 we've had over 1,000 murders in Jamaica. And now, have we ever hit 2,000?
I gave a number earlier, and that was like an assumption still, because knowing Jamaica's murder rate is right now, I was just like I just showed a number, but I don't know if it ever reached 2,000. But you know what, it could reach 2,000, because a lot of times when we get these murder rates in a given years, if you think about those that are not reported.
See, that's another thing.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that there's more that are reported than not, because people go missing. When people go missing, most of the times somebody's gonna report that you're missing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I would say could you could surmise to say that, okay, well, that person probably was murdered because they went missing. Even though that doesn't mean that they're murdered, that could mean that they probably had some type of accident, slip and fall somewhere and lost somewhere where they can't find them. Sometimes it could be that too, not necessarily that because somebody missing, that means that somebody's murdered. But that person probably could have jumped on a boat and try to cross the water as well and die in the water accidentally, or probably reach in the United States or somewhere else and just keeping a low profile. You know what I mean? So when people go missing, you really don't know if they really were murdered. They're just missing. So it's hard to really prove that unless you have like other evidence behind that, right?
But Tristan, we have yet to see that though. A lot of time, most of the time, when people were missing, bro, it's always that they are being killed. Like most of the time, that's.
I think most of the time,
that's the case.
They probably were being killed.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't attribute it to all the times. I don't think.
And that's why I say most, most, because like. Yeah.
Especially with girls, to like young girls, sometimes they run away from home, go and live with a man. You know what I mean? And they're not saying anything, and the parents can't find them for years.
What I'm missing though? What I'm missing is that though. Like it's missing for years with somebody.
Yeah, so it happens. It happens.
I mean, it happens, because I've heard of incidents, but I mean, like most of the times though, something like serious happened to those people, much more than them just being missing. So.
Yeah, I think I would agree that most of the times. I think I can agree with that.
Yeah, most of the time that's the case.
So which leads us to here where we are right now. So now we're asking the question: should Jamaica reinstate the death penalty? Because with these numbers that I just went over, the correlation that's there with the times that the death penalty is reinstated and the murders drop, and then when the death penalty is abolished, the murders go up. When you look at that correlation, it's a positive correlation with the death penalty actually working as a deterrent, right? But a positive, and Carlos, you got a statistics class as well. A positive correlation does not necessarily mean that is the cause and effect.
Exactly.
But you can not ignore it. It probably calls for more research.
I mean, like you see, the way you said, I like that statistics by the way, because of course it shows that there's seemingly a correlation between whenever the death penalty is in place, it seems like there's a reduction in crime, and whenever there is there's no death penalty, it seems like there's an increase. I'm using the word seems because you know what? We have seen over the years where more horrendous crimes have increased.
Right.
The type of crimes that we see is not like in the 70s where it was a tough time for Jamaica in terms of the murder rate. But the percentage of murders was low at that time. Right. Versus what we're seeing now. So you are seeing different type of crimes right now. You are seeing gang related crimes right now.
Right.
You are seeing crimes that are linked to fraudsters. You're seeing crimes that are of all different types. So is it a case wherein it is not so much of the death penalty working, but it's just because you have criminals have been more advanced in their quest to commit criminal activities to the point where they can commit more murders, and that's why we are seeing an increase in the murder rate. So that's just a question that I'm showing what if you think
that there's more resources
yes.
extended. There's more incentive for people to murder. For example, you're saying with this whole lottery scamming thing, that's a new thing. It's, to me, the lottery scamming is basically like the drug game, when the drug game got going in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of murders behind the drug game, particularly because people are robbing each other of their drugs and money, and there's reprisals and stuff like that as well. And it's just like once they start to kill people on one side, it's and then it's this whole gang thing. Not the real gang thing, not even just gang thing alone, but it's just this reprisal. People take each other life and family life and friends and all these things. So I think I could correlate the scamming thing or the lottery scamming thing to the drug game, basically, because people are robbing them, right? Robbing lead sheets and all that stuff. I mean, you hear it in the news all the time.
Yeah, it's popular. It's public knowledge.
Yeah, for quite some, probably the last decade and a half maybe, is when it started to really, really be in the media, like really, really, popular in the media. So that's just another incentive for people to murder, because before that it would have been for the other typical reasons why people murder. So that's not an additional thing for people to commit more murders. So you can see where there's a spike probably since the lottery scamming started, and you can't attribute it all to the lottery scamming, because before lottery scamming, Jamaica was very violent and there was a lot of gang wars and gang shootings and stuff like that, and contracts, all kind of stuff. Now Um, what type of killing you think go on like back in the like 1970s? Let's pull it up, guys. Let's what do you think were like the main um reasons or motives for the homicides
No,
that happens in the 70s? Like with those low numbers.
I think with
Yeah, go ahead.
those low numbers. Well, I think probably most of those crimes back then were probably like politically affiliated.
So you think that in the early 70s those were mostly political?
All right, political affiliated and to a certain extent maybe some child who cause you have some children who grew up in like broken homes, where they got abused by their parents and like after a while they cannot bother to grow up in that system, so they start to go on the street and eventually become parasite, because that's another thing, where the home sometimes create like criminals, because if you're like a parent and like you do not have the method of growing up your child to the extent where that child becomes so loose and you cannot control that child will eventually become a parasite, and by them becoming a parasite they start to turn to crime. When they turn to crime, that's why you're just creating another criminal on the road. So that's a factor as well. So that's separate and apart from political affiliations. Yeah. And then gang related, I think gangs were still existed
in the early 70s.
In the 70s too.
I think the 70s, to be honest with you, I think the type of crimes were probably more like machete and knife crimes back that time. I think there were more of those crimes than there were gun crimes, because I don't think Jamaica really had a gun problem up until it started to be like really political, like what you're saying. I mean, we hear these stories of politicians bringing guns in the community ever since I was a kid, I've been hearing those stories, and is a lot of people come out and say that on the media and things like that, talk about things that happen. I mean, this is this is things that are in documentaries and everything like that. This is official news. So I think back in the early 70s, I don't think those crimes were. I think those crimes were, man probably playing trio card and stuff like that, pitter pat,
Really?
the card game. I think mostly like domestic, and I think it was mostly like stabbings and choppings and stuff like that, and or maybe a fist fight and a man bust a man head with a rock. I would think that was most of the type of murder. Maybe there was some political mixed in, but I think most of those were non firearm related. I don't think the firearm related crimes really started to spike until maybe the late 70s, early 80s.
I mean, what you said about the machete and stab up and all these things, to me, like they put a lot of emphasis on gun related crimes, right? And to me, and I wonder if right now, understand, if we are still putting a lot of emphasis on crimes that are committed using the knife and machete, because most of
There's
the
still a lot.
I mean the numbers there's still a lot, but the numbers that we're seeing there, I would like to think that a vast majority of that numbers is gun related.
You mean like not in the same? You mean like in the later years?
No, currently I'm talking currently.
Like no,
Yeah.
No, I think mostly it's gun crimes.
It's gun related.
Yeah.
But I do think that in 1976 and early on there were gun related crimes as well. Because,
of course. Yeah,
remember at that time, that was when they said that was when they started to ship like guns in the country. That's like the era of that. That's when it all started. So I mean, I don't know if I want to say most of it was machete and knives too.
In the 70s.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
So, because even all right, I would say even like I remember even like 15, 20 years ago when I used to see them report, like I watch TV and I see them reporting the crimes, the murders and stuff like that, and they give you by category how they happen. Usually knife and machete crimes were always roughly about like 40% of it, you know what I mean? So, and that was like current times. I would say like 10, 15 years ago, that was more like current times. So if it was that much like 15 so years ago, then I can imagine in the 70s when nobody really had a gun. Remember those times, I don't even think police used to. There's a lot of police that used to walk around with no gun in the 70s. Remember, they used to walk around with a billy club. If you in the 70s, if you were a police officer, and you get a gun, you know what I mean. You're an exceptional police officer.
So why they talk about the 70s being so bloody? Because I always heard about there was a 70s election.
No, it was the late 70s.
But 76 is like mid 7, like 1976 almost.
It started to get bloody in 79, 980, I believe, is when it. Because that when it was 1980 is when it started to get really bloody, right? That and we can look it up. Let's look it up here. Here. Let's look it up. Let me Jamaica Prime Minister by year. Let's look at that now.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's
when the Siaga reign. When Siaga reign wasn't he from the early 70s though? Late 70s, I think.
Let's share this with the people so they can see. Let's look at it. So Andrew Holness, here. Obviously, guys, you guys all know Andrew Holness, right? He ran from 2016 to current. He's still the Prime Minister, right? Then you had Portia Simpson Miller. Portia Simpson Miller had a 4-year term from 2012 to 2016. Prior to that, there was Andrew Holness from 2011 to 2012, right? That was right after the Bruce Golding thing. The whole fiasco with Bruce Golding when he didn't want to give away dollars and he got into really big problems with the United States, so he had to resign basically because his political career was basically ruined after that. So that Andrew Holness basically served the rest of his term thereafter. But prior to Bruce Golding, so Andrew Holness never won in that time. Andrew Holness was just, we don't have vice president in Jamaica. What do we call vice president in Jamaica?
Vice president, I think. Let me see some. Vice president.
Because Andrew was like the vice president, basically.
Yeah, I think Andrew was a vice president.
He succeeded. He succeeded Bruce Golding after Bruce Golding had to resign, right? But prior to Bruce Golding actually won his election in 2007 to 2011, right? Then prior to that, there was Portia Simpson Miller. Portia Simpson Miller actually succeeded PJ Patterson, right? Because PJ Patterson, how is it? Did PJ Patterson resign? I am assuming. I don't think PJ Patterson never lost. I think
he passed it on to Portia.
He passed it on to Portia because I guess he couldn't bother with it anymore. So, PJ Patterson. I think he resigned. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
PJ resigned, man. He reaches.
So he never did out his full term, the last term, basically.
No.
So PJ Patterson is actually the longest serving prime minister in Jamaica's history.
Yep.
And a lot of people love him for that, but a lot of people hate him for that. I personally remember growing up as a child, I never knew anybody else besides PJ Patterson. Because that was basically my whole life. That's how long of a term he served. He was in office from 1992. I was born in 1989. He was in office from 1992 to 2006. So that's all I knew up until 2006. Nobody else to challenge him. He was unchallenged. Edward Siaga was the opposition leader throughout that whole time, and he could not win one election against PJ Patterson. Then prior to PJ Patterson was Michael Manley in 1989 through 1992, right? Now, this is where we get into the bloody part now, right?
Yep.
All right, so there was Michael Manley from 1989 to 1992, but let's see, before that there was prior to that there was Edward Siaga. I wish, how do I let them, here we go, okay. Prior to that there was Edward Siaga from 19 1980 through 1989. All right, bing, 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 bing. That's the number we're looking for. So 1980, right, through 1989 was when Siaga took over from Michael Manley. No, Michael Manley had it from 1972 to 1980.
4 years.
Right? That Michael Manley, I wish I could show it here, but I wish I could show it here. Maybe, wait.
8 years.
So Michael Manley actually had it, guys. You can't really see it, but I'm gonna. You just hear me out, guys. Just listen. So Michael Manley was in power from 1972 to 1980. Guys, remember 1980 was the year of the election when Edward Siaga won, and that was the bloody year that it was so bloody that they brought in the death penalty back that year. That's how bloody it was. Now, that's when Siaga come and take over. And guys, Michael Manley, and guys, you can tell me if I'm wrong, Carlos. From my understanding, Michael Manley was good friends with Fidel Castro.
Yep.
Right? And
that's what they said, though.
Right. No, he was.
Yeah,
I mean, there's history, there's proof, you know. Was good friends with Fidel Castro, and as everybody know, Fidel Castro followed a socialist political ideology, and Michael Manley actually shared some of that ideology as well. Now, Edward Siaga was, you know, more so the ideology like it is here in the United States, where it's a capitalist ideology. A lot of people might say Marxist theory.
Yep.
Right? And when Edward Siaga won in 1980, well, I'm not going to say when he won in 1980, but the year that he contested Michael Manley was the bloodiest year Jamaica has ever seen, with 899 murders, a jump from 461 the previous year. Right? So guys, that is, as you can see, that is what most of those murders, you can basically sum them up to being political, people supporting each party and defending are, you know, trying to defending their own interests and agenda, basically. And, you know, I'm not gonna put it on any of one of these guys. They were both involved, you know. I'm sure it was both sides, because one side trying to keep power and the other side trying to gain power.
Yes.
You know, and, you know, I'm not gonna say both sides are not innocent, guys, right? All right, but so that explains that big bloody year, right? Prior to that was Hugh Shearer, from 1967 to 1972, and then, you know, before that you had 1967 to.
I think that guy was poisoned.
Donald Sangster. Hugh Shearer?
I think they said he was one of the shortest serving prime minister of Jamaica, right? Cause I see something.
He did what? He did no. He did
The
from
same year.
1960. He did 5 years.
What is it? 1967. That guy there.
Hugh Shearer?
One other guy. I think one guy served a very short time. Is it the next
Oh,
one?
Donald Sangster.
Donald Sang.
Oh.
One of those guys.
Let's pull up.
No, it was quite. I think the poison is one of those prime ministers. I forgot.
This is Hugh Shearer, guys. Yeah. That on the guy that you see on the $5,000 bill. He served 5 years as prime minister in Jamaica. He was the first black prime minister in Jamaica. And then prior to that was 1967 to 1967. That was Donald Sangster, right? But Donald Sangster looked black, man.
Oh, yeah. Some
He
people
probably
call
was
him
mixed, right?
Looks like a mulatto to me, though.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a straight white man.
Like a mulatto, you know.
He looks mixed to me. Let's see who else. And then prior to that was Alexander Bustamante. From 1962 to 1967, that's when we just got our independence. Though, yeah, that's Alexander Bustamante. You think Bustamante used to talk patois?
Oh, yeah. Not sure, you know.
He looked like an Englishman, man.
Yeah, that man looks straight English, you know.
He looked like the you know, and I'm not disrespecting our leaders or whatever, but, you know, in my opinion, Mr. Alexander Bustamante looked like one of them guys there with the agent them with the British them.
Like some English planter, you know.
Yeah, them planting, because the moment you get independence, you know.
Yeah.
But it might not be. It might be a Jamaican as true. I mean, and we learn this stuff in school, so you know, I don't want to be out here willy nilly talking foolishness. But you know, there's he might not see himself as a British person, you know, just like how the Australians then branch off and they want their own country.
That guy's a British man.
You think so?
Yeah, that guy's a straight British man.
But what about like the Australians and the Americans when they branch off, they wanted their own country. So even though they might be white and thing in race, but they don't see themselves as British. They see themselves having their own culture and wanting to run their thing without the British. That's like again independence.
I mean, it could be, like it could be like from some other race, but if something that's what is this issue saying though? Saying that he's 1984 Anova?
Huh?
Is he saying that he was born? Well, let me see something. Where was this? If you look up like his.
Where was he born? Let's look at a little bit of the history.
Yeah.
Sir Alexander Clark Bustamante was a Jamaican politician and labor leader who in 1962 became the first Prime Minister of Jamaica. Born in Anova, 1884 in Anova, died 1977.
He was born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Born to some English slave master, that I like to think. Because I remember during that time, like, I mean, the British has prior conquest of Jamaica, so there was a lot of British living in Jamaica. He seems like a British to me though, like he's a British descendant.
But I mean, they probably all come from. I mean, they probably all come from British descent anyway. But what I'm saying is, when they might be British descent, but they have their own ideology and feel like they have their own identity, just like the Australians or the New Zealanders. You know, that come from our America, that come from England. Well, not only England, but you know, most of the Americans, I would say probably the ones in power came from England. That's why we speak English in this country. You know, because you like to think that whatever language you speak would be the most powerful people or the most people in numbers that came to the country at first, you know. So even like Canada, like there's part that speak English and then another part that speak French.
Yep.
You know, you know, what's funny, America could have been a French country too, or a French-speaking country too, because if you look at Louisiana, there was a French colony back in the day.
But I must say they were once a colony of the British, America.
Right, but Louisiana, the state of Louisiana, that was a French colony, right?
Yeah, it was a French colony. So that's why you have this variation of language like in the US. Because they were conquered by different nations in Europe, you know.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the topic questions, Carlos. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so couple questions, my G, because I want to make sure we're on time and thing, you know. All right, so what percentage of people serving life sentences do you think are innocent?
Alright, you see, that's a very broad question though, and I say that because it says percentage. So I mean, I really don't have my statistics and to say the percentage of people serving the death penalty who are innocent. But what I could say though, I think even though they use the death penalty at the time as a means of stemming murder or crime of violence in Jamaica, I think there's a possibility that some of those criminals who face the death penalty, that they were somewhat or seemingly innocent, but they face the death penalty. But in terms of the percentage, I'm not able to say like what percentage was really innocent, because it's a possibility that they could all be innocent, and it's a possibility that none of them could be innocent. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I just think like overall if I cannot look at it like I say a percentage of them were innocent.
Yeah. So what do you think though? Because I think that it's not just a Jamaica justice system. I think justice systems in the world in general, they don't get it right all the time. I think sometimes people wrong place, wrong time, and the evidence just tie right back to them in a sense. And then some people might have been framed, right, to where the evidence ties back to them, and they probably could either couldn't afford to defend themselves properly with a proper representation, or their representation couldn't do enough to defend them. These things happen. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it does happen. I mean, look at the guy. You watch the show. 50 Cent produced the show. That guy in New Jersey.
Yeah, I watched that movie. I know what you're
where he got convicted for a murder, and he spent probably 20 years out of his life in prison, and then after 20 years, after fighting it and gathering all his evidence, is when he could actually prove that he was innocent this whole time.
All right. What I would like to think. I mean, and because the reason why I probably could speak about what I've heard about what took place in earlier days, but currently because we're not using the death penalty in Jamaica, because we're specifically looking at Jamaica right now, right?
Right.
And other countries, but like I think that some of those criminals who face the death penalty, they're not being tried fairly.
Right.
They're not being tried fairly, and there's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of statistics out there which can show that like because you see the death penalty. The death penalty is a form of capital punishment, right? And I just think that a lot of times if you're gonna say, all right, that person killed someone, so we should kill them back, or they should face the death penalty, then clearly we're using a form of a negative reinforcement to deal with the situation, right? And that's why sometimes I kind of stay on both sides of the fence when it comes to like the death penalty, because the thing is that it's not every time that there is a situation which is not acceptable to you, especially by human being, then you should always resort to using a negative reinforcement. Right, and that is why I think that right now we're not so much seeing the death penalty being used, because they're using a penal system where like you do a crime, you get convicted and serve your time, and when you serve your time, they're expecting that you serving your time, then you will actually be reached a point where you get yourself cleaned up and you can go back in the world, rehabilitate and confront the society and be like a regular human being. Right. That's a form of positive reinforcement. On the other hand, though, the negative reinforcement, which such as the capital punishment, it works, But then again, you might be wrong. You might be wrong, because come and think about it, there's a judiciary system and there's a process that's involved. And you cannot just say, all right, that's somebody was killed. Tristan, Tom killed that person, so we're gonna take back his life. You could all get it wrong, because some along the road you could realize that was all wrong information.
I think it was in 2004 or thereabout. I actually have an article, I read it in a few, but I think 2004 thereabout is when Jamaica's legislation made the change from which a murder is a mandatory death sentence, because that it was just, I think, in the 2000s thereabout when they changed that. So that, with that being said, that everybody that was convicted of murder automatically will be mandatory get a death sentence. That it's been like that way for many years in Jamaica, up until the 2000s. But unfortunately for a lot of these guys, the death penalty was not basically reinstated for quite some time. So a lot of those guys would have been executed, right? So I say that to say, and that's probably one of my questions, should there be capital punishment for all convicted murders?
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. And the reason why I am taking this stance is because it all goes back to my the point that I made earlier where I said that a lot of times someone is being convicted for a crime which they did not do. Right? And for you to resort to using a form of capital punishment such as the death penalty to say, all right, I'm gonna murder that person because he's been convicted for a crime. You could all be wrong. The opposite, it could be the opposite. It could be that somebody else killed Tom and is walking freely on the road, but somebody else is gonna be killed for what they haven't done. So I just think like I don't think that everyone that have gone through that situation, if you have enough evidence to, if there is evidence to show that, because the thing is that like there are some scenarios where like it is apparent, you know that it's Tom that killed that person. It is Tom that killed that person.
There's some evidence that's more convincing.
Exactly. Yeah, there is, and I'm not talking about substantial evidence here. There is quantifiable evidence to show that Tom killed Mary, right? And because Tom killed Mary, then of course Tom should face a death penalty. There are other situations where you have witness come out and say, all right, is this Tom that killed Mary? Sometimes that witness is lying. They might be mixing up that person, right? They might be mixing up that person.
Witness testimony is probably one of the most powerful evidence you can have.
But sometimes the witnesses it can be wrong though. Because sometimes people get pointed out wrong in a chest. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to.
And people tell lie too. Witness will tell lie.
Yeah, they tell lie.
And people will sometimes the witness will just think that they're right, and they sometimes not that they're trying to tell a lie, but they'll think that that's what they saw.
Exactly, and then sometimes that depends on it, because I know a number of persons want to get pick up an identification parade. They have a thing in Jamaica, there's an identification parade, and a wrong man get pick up. Yeah. Saying that they're the one who killed such and such a person, and they get convicted for it. Later on, you find out that they are not the person who that person has nothing to do with the murder of the specific person that they're referring to. So, like, it kind of varies, you know. I would like to think it varies, though, honestly, because, like, there are certain situations, Tristan, where, like, oh my God, man, someone, like, they kill a baby, a little girl. Everybody know that it is probably Peter who committed that crime. Yeah. You have no choice but to, like, and if it was up to me, you have no choice. But
so no, I don't think all murders are wrong, but you know what I mean? Yeah. You can look at somebody that a man kill another man over a dispute. Maybe they had like some type of fight at a bar or something like that. That man go for him, gun and kill the man or whatever it may be, or stab him, whatever. You know what I mean? Versus a man that go kill a child or something like that. I feel like both of them are wrong, you know, but it's like a different level of it's just a different level of evil. You know what I mean? With the guy that, you know, kill a child. You understand what I mean? I say somebody that's helpless, defenseless, that probably never even had any issue with him. It's not like something that spent from a man step on a man's shoes and it escalate or a man say something and disrespect a man or whatever, escalate to something else. For, you know, people that are just like innocent, don't have nothing to do with nothing. I feel like those are two different levels of crime. No. Should there be capital punishment for all convicted murders? I really don't think so. I think you have to look at a case by case basis. I think that even though a man might premeditated commit a murder, I think it doesn't necessarily mean that that person should get a death sentence. I think it should be considered, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they should get a death sentence, because there's evidence of guys that, you know, committed murders and actually were rehabilitated and come back on the street after 25, 30 years, and, you know, I mean, they live in a relatively peaceful life, not, you know, staying out of the way, staying under the radar, not bothering anybody. We walk amongst them daily and don't even know. You know what I mean? It happens, you know. But you know, there's definitely a lot of situations and with murders where I think that would make sense, you know.
I mean, the Christians will probably get at you right now because our religious people will probably get at you because they will say, all right, according to our holy book or the Holy Bible, like thou shalt not kill.
Right.
So if Tom kills someone and you have a system that says I'm gonna kill you back for that, then you're actually going against the commandment that you're going against the religious creed. You know what I'm saying? But then someone will say, all right, they're resorting to Moses' law, which says that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So, like, and you think about it, and those are some of the reasons why the church is one of the reasons why I think we actually have we have the death penalty being abolished. Yeah. They played a major role in that. They play a major role in that. In that.
I mean, not to get too much down into religion, but obviously it's a part of it, when they talk about Jamaica, that is a system that doesn't separate religion and from legislation.
Church and state.
Church and state, right? Yeah. So is a country that don't separate church from state. I mean, obviously America, we kind of look at things different here, but not that America doesn't have religious ideologies, but we definitely separate church from state here. Jamaica, on the other hand, does not. It's a Christian country, and it's openly Christian and proud. Now, the Bible said, "Thou shalt not kill," but there's multiple stories in the Bible where the people that are the important figures in the Bible have killed. And not to say that they're killing for no reason at all, but it's there were many wars.
But David though.
Look at David and Goliath. David had to kill Goliath.
David killed many men, bro. Like
David killed many men, right? So, how does that "thou shalt not kill" apply to that person? And look, I'm not saying that I'm justifying to kill. I'm not. That's totally not what I'm doing here. But I just think that when it comes to something like this, as far as dealing with the death penalty and whether we should reinstate it or not, I think we should leave religion out of it because this is not a religious issue.
I know, but still they work hand in hand, because I think even you're in the church and state globally, they work hand in hand. Globally, church and state is a thing. A lot of time when legislations are about to be, because I even think of a lot of those, like, and that's why I'm not trying to get political, and that's why a lot of times you find, like, whenever there's a new government in place, they try to infiltrate the system with their political agenda.
Right.
Because, like, if our current president is a Roman Catholic, I could see them want to try to push some form of agenda. It might not be done directly, but indirectly. And the same case in Jamaica. You give me a confirm, so that's why a lot of times you see certain laws might be in place, and then this leader come in place and say, oh, they might be like a Christian or whatever the case may be. So they are saying, all right, we don't want to have anything to do with the death penalty. So sometimes there are some affiliation to that. So and that's why a lot of times we get a lot of pushback when it comes to these kind of death penalty. But I really like the death penalty. I think we should have it in Jamaica. We should have the death penalty.
Yeah, look, listen. I'm not saying that as soon as somebody commits a murder, they're just going on death row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying here. But I think it should be considered based on a case by case basis whether that warrants it. Now whether that works as a deterrent or not, I really don't know, because I'm not in the mind of a criminal. You know what I mean? So I can't, and then not only that, but the mind of a criminal, it varies. There's different criminals. You understand?
Criminal minds.
Right. There's different, and then it's funny too. Some people aren't really killers. They just probably were in a rage. How many people, even here in the United States, commit a murder because of road rage?
My God. I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and it's kind of crazy, kind of crazy. Like, a lot of times, just like, they have this thing that where they say, like, in psychology, where they say that probably in the summertime,
Vivace Productions,
the murder rate go up. They say the murder rate go up, and it kind of stems from aggression, aggression have a lot to do with murder. And I don't know if that's necessarily true though. I don't know because like I've seen where like in Jamaica, where especially in Christmas time, where that time is not hot. There are a lot more crimes going on in Christmas. A lot more crime because these criminals they need money.
But that's when the time, in Chicago, that's when the crimes cool down, because in Chicago the crimes cool down in the winter time. But I guess because the place hot, the place cool, so no, the place cold, so nobody's leaving their house to go out in the cold. So nobody's hanging out, nobody's going anywhere. So if people are staying in their houses, more than likely you're gonna see a drop in the crime rate, because everybody's staying.
Stick up in. Do you think we have a reduction in crime during COVID though?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers. But I'd like to think so, because if I'm not saying crime doesn't happen or didn't happen, but
specifically Jamaica.
Yeah. But if most people are in their houses and they're not going anywhere, I think more, and then when you go outside, it's a lot of security forces and stuff like that. So there's a lot of police patrol more than the ordinary, which I don't understand how you could get so much police patrol in COVID time, but you can't get them patrolling in regular times.
Yeah. That's another thing. You see, that's another thing, Tristan. Like, the thing what I see with the approach towards Jamaica's crime problem is it's kind of stupid sometimes, because I see a lot of like band-aid strategies being used, a lot of quick fix. So each time there's a spike in murders, you say, all right, we're gonna use a state of emergency. Now I'm sitting here wondering, when does a state of emergency becomes like a crime strategy? You see, like, bro, when I was in Jamaica, I went to like a particular parish, and when I was in the city, I see like there was a barricade in the city. I was like, soldiers here with long guns. I was like, what is going on here? It's not like we're living in Iraq, bro. And that's because they were having the state of emergency. So like, to me, like we need more like firm or lethal strategy, bro, to stem crime and violence in Jamaica. You can't be like every time there is a spike, you say, oh, we're gonna roll out the state of emergency. But then they have Operation Kingfish. Now I read about is, and I think they had the Zozo and some other like crime fighting strategy. They use a lot of policing to fight crime. But I don't necessarily think that policing is necessarily the method.
I think one thing that would help Jamaica is an increase of the intelligence system that they have, as well as a proper DNA system. Because if Jamaica had a proper DNA system, right, then I'm telling you, every single crime scene has DNA. Every single one. I mean, you watch Law and Order and all that stuff there, right? Trust me, most of these people that are doing that stuff, they're not covering their tracks fully like that. You know what I mean? They're leaving DNAs. So if Jamaica had like a DNA system to where everybody, and this is kind of impeding the freedom a bit, I would say. A lot of people might oppose this, but if the government had the DNA of everybody in the country, right? So if somebody do something, they can find, okay, a strand here, something, sweat that never dry up yet, something, a rag, a kerchief that dropped something, you know what I mean? Run the DNA test, link you right back to somebody that was involved in something, you know what I mean? That's what they do here. That's, real good systems. Like, I mean, in case anybody don't know, like, as much as you see killings go on in the United States of America, I can tell you this, a high percentage of them are solved. So I'm not saying they don't happen, but there's good like systems to where a high percentage of them are solved. I'm not saying that there aren't some that go unsolved, but for the most part, man, there's a lot of them that are solved, because nobody is perfect. You understand? And things don't always go as it may seem when somebody's plotting something.
But sometimes I wonder though, Tristan, if they really want to stop crime and violence in Jamaica. I wonder. I mean, like, I know that the security minister is trying, but like, I just think the methods are a bit old-fashioned.
Since you brought up the security minister, let's look at an article from the Gleaner um, that has quotes from the security minister himself, Horace Chang. Is he still a security minister?
I think so.
Okay, let's look at this article with some quotes from Horace Chang, or basically his views on the death penalty, right? So, life sentence more effective than death penalty, says Chang. Let's read the article, guys. While not ruling out a return to the death penalty, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says imposing a life sentence will be more effective in the drive towards eradicating crimes and criminality in the society. Chang made that distinction in an interview with reporters in St. James on Tuesday while he was presenting tablet computers to students at the Glendevon Primary and Infant School in his St. James Northwestern constituency. When you take a big man who is seen as a don, you put him in front before a court and before a jury, try him and find him guilty. We can lock him away and it diminishes his status in the community, said Chang. It sends a signal that we are in control, and I think that's an important message to the wider community. He said is the preferred punishment to apply to those who use the gun to commit murder. Murders committed across Jamaica between January 1 and May 23 this year amounted to 574, and this was in 2002, right?
Yep.
An increase of 35% over the 539 cases recorded for the corresponding period of 2021, according to data provided by the Jamaica Constabulary Force Statistics Unit. Chang is of the view that if the death penalty remains the final form of deterrent method, criminals will continue to create mayhem until the security forces are able to apprehend them. You heard that a while ago.
Alright. You see what Chang is saying here? I mean, I would like to say, I probably kind of agree with him to a certain extent, no, but like, I can't see where you have like a person who is doing is committing some serious crimes, and you can bring him in front of the court for him to face the justice system. Are you gonna tell me in today Jamaica that when you lock that man away in prison, you lock him off the street and he cannot continue his criminal operation out there? That doesn't make any sense, because there's a lot of evidence to show that the operation is still being continued while you're locked behind bars.
I mean, a lot of compromise can go on because,
yeah, a lot.
You know, the prison system, the waters aren't perfect neither. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And especially when you look at a place like Jamaica. If you look at, look at Jamaica, a place that's lacking resources, and, you know, prison warders aren't being paid that much to where they can, they can make a little bit of a living, but they're not living that great for the most part, right? It's not a life-changing amount of pay that they're getting compared to the work that they have to do, because it's serious work that they're doing, you know what I mean? That, that's not easy. So some of them will take bribes, understand? Because if you look at America, where prison guards get paid quite a bit more, and there's prison guards with not 401k plans but pensions in America. You understand? When you work a certain amount of time, you get a pension, and then you're good. You're set for life, basically. Which a lot of prison guards, in America, they're living quite decent, and even them, they take bribes and do things. You know what I mean? Can bring in a cell phone, things like that. So, to your point, locking away somebody doesn't necessarily stop the issue. You understand? And they can be creating the same mayhem. But what Chang was saying is that if they did something right and they're wanted for something like a murder, and they know that you're looking for them, you put out the APB or whatever, because they know that they're gonna get the death penalty, they might create just more mayhem until they get caught. I wouldn't I mean, personally, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's a possibility, but I can't chalk it up after that. You know what I mean?
You know, he's kind of right though, and that's why like a lot of time people. That's why I say a lot of times like a negative reinforcement doesn't necessarily work. If you think if you have a child, Tristan, right, and you beat that child all the time whenever that child does something wrong, do you think that's necessarily a character in the situation, or do you think that you're gonna make that child become a lot more violent? Because you have seen where a lot of times like a child who's continually being beaten by his parents, a lot of times they break away from the home, become like a parasite in the street and start to like they are the ones who become murderers. So do you think that, and that's why I think, do you think that beating a child always solves the situation? And I'm just asking that question because it's kind of synonymous to
it doesn't,
you killing someone, you murdering someone.
There's different. I put it this way, right? I think that there's different strokes for different folks. You understand? I think I can see where, and what do they call it? Corporal punishment? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
I can see where it makes sense for some people because some kids, you can talk to them, you understand, and they will listen, and you can get changes from them. But then some kids, you need to make them feel in order for them to listen, and them not doing the bad thing anymore is the fear of getting caught and getting the leather belt, you understand, and that will prevent. And then growing up, there's a lot of friends that I know that the belt saved them, because if they weren't getting roughed up by their parents and stuff like that, they would have been too free and not care, because some of them, they're just scared to death of their parents. Now, what I don't agree with is child abuse. You understand? That I can't agree with that. There's some things that's punishment, but there's some things, at that point it's child abuse.
But like, even a child get a box in their face, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think you're supposed to slap. I think if you're gonna beat them with a leather belt, that's different, or whatever. But you box in a face, I think that's I think that imagery, what I mean.
But I mean, so you're right. So if you continually beat a child and beat them badly because of what they're doing, you're going to create them into monsters. So if someone is a murderer, I don't know that they're going to be murdered for the murder that they've committed. Like, they will more likely to go on a rampage, knowing that, because they know that you're going to be killed. Someone who know that, alright, I'm probably going to be doing the next 30 years in prison. To me, you come like, serving time in prison right now become like, is a normalized thing for them right now. Like, oh, I'm going to brush do it at 10 years or 15 years, probably I can go to the appeal and win it and come out. So I can understand where it's coming from with that, because if you know that you're going to be killed, you will probably start killing more people. Because back in the day, I think you have this guy, they say it was like, I think his name was like he was going around killing a lot of people for no reason at all. And he was on the run, because the moment when police, he's going to be killed. So like, I could see why he's making that statement though.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that couldn't be applied to some people, but I can't apply that to most. I think that's it's a case by case basis, because some guys might not want to create any more mayhem, because the more, just like how they find out about what he did from the first thing, he might be easier to catch by creating more mayhem and basically laying his presence in a new spot, basically. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some guys probably would want to just jump on a boat and jump ship and leave altogether too. Not necessarily that they're going to create mayhem. I think that if you find out that when the justice system catch you, you're going to die, then you're probably not going to want to create mayhem. You're probably going to think about, how can I get out of this damn country?
I mean, I don't know if these modern criminals are so-called, they call it 87s. if they are thinking like that. Yeah. I don't know if they're thinking that smart. I think back then, you will have more men who wanted to, like I said, we're going to try to flee this country on a boat. These guys are bare-faced. They are brazen. They will go on a rampage. Because I've seen scenes where I see like some guys went on an operation in a particular parish, and they were all in like shorts. and slippers.
Yeah, but then you know what? But that's the thing. You can also argue that why are they so brazen? Because the consequences is more bearable. You understand? Because a man going to prison. I mean, I don't wish prison on anyone. You understand? But there's some guys that handle prison better than some guys. There's some guys that go to prison and is like, cowboy lunchtime. You understand? Is just rubber one sentence like 10 years. If you give it 10, 15 years of their life, is really not that bad in their minds, because a person that make up their mind to live a certain way, you understand what I'm saying, giving away 10, 15, 20 years of their lives, I guess you can see that person not feel, because he knows what comes with it. You understand what I'm saying? And he knows the life as he's living. So 10, 20 years, when he goes to prison, he knows that, okay, well, link up that guy, make sure I have this, and make the best of it until in time done, and then you come back on the road again, and then some of those guys, they're not rehabilitated. And that I'm not saying that you should just kill everybody. No, that's not what I'm saying. But there should be better rehabilitation for these guys. But I think there's some level of deterrence when you know that, hey, yeah, they're gonna, cause Jamaica never give the electric chair nor the injection. You know what Jamaica do? They hang you. It was hanging. That was the method used. Maybe now if they bring it back, they probably change it to the injection.
Yeah, probably need to change it to the injection, because some of those guys need to face that, Tristan. Yeah.
Hey man, listen.
Yeah.
I could see there's some situations where I could see that happening, because, I think there should be, there should be some level of deterrence. And look, I think that people can be rehabilitated, because some people, not because you've killed somebody, that don't mean say, all right, you're just done for, you should just wipe off of the world. I don't think so, honestly, because I think that sometimes people see people who go down the bad road because of influence and stuff like that, and sometimes they do the killing. They were ordered, they were coerced to do things. You know what I mean? I mean that I'm taking up for them and saying that you understand. I'm not quoting for them or anything like that. Or scapegoating. It's still wrong. You're supposed to have a mind of your own. But there's a bigger mastermind. You know what I mean? And I think that some of these guys actually can be rehabilitated. But they need. I don't mean to go and serve like a 5-year, 10-year. No, you understand? You have to really. I feel like you're supposed to spend enough time to where by the time you come out of prison, you're supposed to not try to have nothing to do with nothing illegal. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to try to focus on how to get back your life and reconcile with your family and try. You understand what I'm saying?
So, but what about those guys though? After getting 30 years, come out and still.
They never learn them lesson, because if you go to prison for 30 years and you come out and you're still the same person, the system never works.
But I think we have seen I think we have seen a lot of cases where more criminals who was in the penal system for like a number of time, after being released from prison, they get back in the same criminal act and start killing on a rampage. So so I guess that's the reason why we're having this discussion, because it seems like just using the regular penal system to say, all right, we're going to give you 30 years or 15 years or whatever the case might be. It is just not working.
All right. That's what you're saying. But all right, we have to wrap up the show. So let me finish the article by Horace Chan. All right. So which excuse me. To just find and kill him, gunman that commits murder, whether it's extrajudicial or judicial, it has a finality that the next man will say, all right, I will take my risk and go. But to change his life dramatically by embarrassing, belittling, diminishing him, I think this is very important part of turning away those who might be seeking to use the gun as a source of employment, Chang said with confidence. I disagree with that, because you're talking about guys that are like being embarrassed isn't even like. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, but being embarrassed, they've been embarrassed before in different ways.
Oh man,
You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't think that makes any sense either. For real.
That make no sense.
Yeah, that make any sense.
I think that's a stupid point that he brought up.
I think he was just trying to sound politically correct, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but like belittling and embarrassment. I think that's you're telling me that they're more concerned about being belittled and embarrassed than the 30-year sentence. Come on. I think taking them away for 30 years is more detrimental to them mentally than just being paraded and tried and.
But by the way, Oris Strong, I read an article that and Oris Strong, I think it was like 2 years ago. This guy was boasting about like some reduction in crime and violence, and I was like, come on, Mr. Chang, man, like this is nothing to be boasting about. Like he was saying that there was a marked reduction in crime, like. And that's why I hate this idea about talking about statistics, because if the murder reduced by 200, and it was 1700 and it was 50, if it was 1700 last year and it reduced to 1500 this year, that is nothing to be boasting about. It doesn't even mean that it is you who have done something right. Probably the criminal minds have changed. So I just think that they're not doing anything. They're not doing enough to curtail crime and violence. Like there's a lot more that needs to be done. The death penalty is one thing that they need to bring it in back.
So let's pick up some people in the chat before we continue the article. Big up First Millennial Entertainment. Big up Delamar. Big up Lorna Smith. Big up Vivace Productions. Big up Dulcie Smith. Big up Jacqueline Smith. Big up Sanjay Sinanan. Big up my brother. Yeah, man. Alright, so let's get into the rest of the article. In the immediate situation, we have to apprehend killers, and when they are apprehended and found guilty, they must be locked away for a long time so they cannot come back and recycle, he continued. Capital punishment is a legal penalty in Jamaica. Currently, the only crime punishable by death is aggravated murder, the method of execution by hanging. However, in 2004, Jamaica removed mandatory death penalty for murder. The sentence remains on the books for certain categories of murder, but there's been no execution since February 1988. That was what I brought up earlier about them changing the laws to where it's not just okay, you have an aggregative murder, you're gonna get the death penalty. No, it has to follow some type of guidelines basically. All right, so debatable. Chang noted that the death penalty is debatable. There are some of us who support it in the circumstances where they are found guilty of causing death to another citizens. Others feel differently. Trinidad and Tobago is the only country in the English-speaking Caribbean that retains the mandatory death penalty. Plot seed.
Do you know, that's kind of interesting.
I did not know that.
Alright. Tristan.
Yeah.
Interesting that you said that about Trinidad, right? I see these guys are branding Trinidad with a new name. Instead of calling Trinidad, they refer to Trinidad as Trinidad. And I mean, there's no pun intended. Trinidad is actually getting bad. There's a lot of crimes in Trinidad. Anyway, if you should, maybe another time we could look at the statistics. But even though they're using the death penalty there, the murder rate is very high in Trinidad.
Well, I don't know the specifics of that. I'll have to look it up to see. I know the murder rate is bad, but
right. I don't have the numbers.
I don't know the specifics of their death penalty because I don't know if it's mandatory. If somebody has an aggravated murder, if it's mandatory death penalty in Trinidad. Somebody that's been to Trinidad or knows of Trinidad, you can type in the chat or call in and let us know. I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just go through the article. That position was further strengthened by the United Kingdom Privy Council, who has earlier this month ruled that the mandatory death penalty in that country is not unconstitutional. So basically the Privy Council said that's okay for them. I am satisfied that the Privy Council has ruled in a manner that I am happy with, declared Chang, who was addressing the matter for the first time since the ruling. Alright, so that was basically the article. So, I mean, he said a lot, but he didn't say much. Horace Chang, I think he's still currently the security minister, right?
Yeah, I think he is.
Right. So I don't agree with everything that he says. I think some of the things that he says is like it's a bit of a reach for his rationale for not. I think he could have better reasons for. I think it's very speculative and subjective, and I think he could have brought some support as far as some better support to his argument as far as like historical facts are based on certain research and stuff like that before he concluded certain things. It sounded like he didn't put any thought into it. He just kind of came off his the top of his brain and just said whatever he said basically. But I mean, we have the numbers right here, guys, and we may be wrong. Well, I'm not gonna say we. I may be wrong, but there is some correlation. Long story short, because we're gonna wrap the live up. But long story short, there is some correlation. Whenever the death penalty was reinstated, the murders went down, and it went down for a considerably long time until when they abolished the death penalty, the murders went up, and that is the correlation that we've been seeing. So now, hypothetically, if they should reinstate the murder, not the murder, but the death penalty here in 2023, it's curious to see whether the murder rate will go down.
It's kind of interesting because I said criminals are getting more advanced, more violent. We have different criminal minds now as opposed to then. So.
But one question though, as far as Jamaica's we probably touched this already. You think Jamaica's justice system is like, no justice system is perfect, but do you think that Jamaica's justice system is at this point fair enough or competent enough to handle it should it be reinstated in 2023?
All right. A question about fear, I mean, that's always been a question, But I just think, like, if they're going to reinstate the death penalty in Jamaica, it is something that needs more research, needs a lot more thought process. It needs a bipartisan voting to the extent where it is not going to be politicized. Because a lot of times I see whenever they're trying to put a system in Jamaica, especially as it relates to crime, one party will say that we should use it, while the other party is saying that we don't want it here because it does not work out. So, like, it's really it will take a holistic approach to bring in, I think, that the death penalty and specifically our justice system. Justice system needs a lot of reformation as well. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you think of it, we're still having a justice system where it is based on the British system. We're still having the Privy Council as our final appellate court. Right. So, versus we using or we should have our own Caribbean court of appeal. So we're still based on our justice system and a British system. Right. So you understand. So if we can eliminate like the British component of it, I mean, then I could see like we having our own say, because of course we have qualified judge who studied in England, who actually can help to build a better justice system, which can be more clear and easier to understand, and that will make it better to institute the death penalty in Jamaica. If they have more a better system in place, I think it can work. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think we should move away from the British colonialism still.
I think they're trying to do that,
But I could see where it might be advantageous to someone that's appealing to have the British Privy Council, because if it's a case to where you might think that you weren't tried fairly in the Jamaican justice system, or there was some foul play, you feel like you'd get a better opportunity for an appeal with the British Privy Council, because it's a whole different country with people that are just looking at it black and white without any biases. bias. You understand what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
any influence from inside the country. You know what I mean?
You see, like, I mean, like, you know, Tristan, but you see, like, there's a lot of disparities in that, you know, because you're talking about, yeah, like, we're living in Jamaica, right? Caribbean, different culture, like, that's our system, right? And you're talking about, like, British, there's a totally different system there. And you mean to tell me that, like, we have to turn to the Privy Council as our final appellate court to test our judiciary system?
I don't think we should. I'm just saying I can see where it's advantageous for someone that's appealing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, for real, but I mean, I just, even though it might be advantageous for somebody who is appealing, I just think, like, yeah, we shouldn't have to turn to that, because, you know, say, in the US, where, like, alright, someone goes to appeal a case, it doesn't work, and they say, alright, you know what, let me turn to say, I see if I can bring it to the Privy Council. You don't get that. The Supreme Court is final. It's final on that.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but I mean,
yeah. I mean,
as broken as our system here in the US is, as flawed as it is, I think for the most part it's relatively working well, because you know, they don't get everything right. They just don't. But there's a lot that they do get right, you know, and a lot that we think that they wouldn't have got right, that they did get right, you know. So, you know, that's the system, you know.
System.
But, yeah, go ahead.
No, the system don't get wrong, you know, Tristan. Like, a lot of time, like, whoever is appealing their case with the Privy Council right now, like, I mean, kudos to them. I mean, like, at least they have a second try. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, over on a broad scale, I just think, like, we should have another court of appeals such as the Caribbean, CCJ. They're trying to, PJ Patterson trying to bring in the CCJ as our final appellate court.
I could see that. I mean, yeah. I feel like that would probably be better than the Privy Council in the British Privy Council. Yeah. Because, I mean, anything about Jamaica is a small country, you know, and look, at the end of the day, for there to be foul play, there has to be some type of level of collusion. I don't think there's just this one person that can basically make somebody's life a living hell. Yeah. I think it takes a group of people that have the same agenda. You understand? So, you know, all in all, is Jamaican justice system fair? I think they get it right a lot of times. I think they don't get it right a lot of times as well. Just like the system in America here. I think America might get it right more times than Jamaica does, because I think that there's more checks and balances in the system.
Of course.
That the defense attorney can basically use to his or her advantage, versus Jamaica, where, you know, there's so much things that, you know, it affects your case in Jamaica, where something will be as stupid as like the power gone at this branch, so you can't get this video recording or something, like just some stupid shit like that. That is just like some stupid, like, third world stuff that affect Jamaica, and just like letting the process, or that might even affect the decision at the end of the day, you know, which
files get missing.
You know, all files get missing, all that stuff, you know.
Abruptly, yeah.
Here, if files get missing here, they throw out the case. You know what I mean? But guys, anyways, we gotta wrap up the show. It's 13 minutes past 8. It's getting late. Thank you to everybody that stayed throughout the show. Thank you to everyone that came through, passed through, watched a little bit and left. Big up to everybody that's gonna watch the rerun. I know a lot of people are probably gonna watch the rerun. A lot of people weren't aware of the live, because I didn't have one last week, and I think the week before we didn't have one either. So I think I probably did 2 weeks without a live. So, you know, guys, can rope in back again, man. We're back live again. We're live again. You know. I had to go through some little sickness. I was a little bit sick. My little son was sick as well, and, you know, it was tough, man. It was a tough time. So I really couldn't do a lot of lives and recordings and stuff like that. I had to just take the time to recover and, you know, stay with my family, make sure they're good. So, you know what I mean, definitely hope to see you again next week. We'll have another topic, you know what I mean, and we can all go over it together. So bless up everybody again. Hope to see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. All right.